There comes a stage in life when the noise fades. Not because the world became quiet, but because you stopped fighting to be heard. You have walked long enough to know that applause is temporary. You have suffered enough to know that explanations are useless. And you have lived enough to realize that not everything God does needs to be visible. This message is not for the young who are still rushing. This is for the one who has endured silently. For the one who kept walking even when nothing made sense. For the one who learned to trust God without needing proof. What you didn't realize is that somewhere in your obedience, patience, and endurance, a divine level was unlocked. Not announced. Not celebrated. Not visible to the world. But heaven noticed. God said, "The reason most people don't recognize where you are now is because this level was hidden on purpose. Earlier in your life, everything felt public. Your victories were loud. Your failures were obvious. Your emotions were on display. But this season is different. Now your growth is quiet. Your strength is internal. Your authority is spiritual. You are no longer operating in a level that needs validation. You don't need people to clap, agree, or understand. Because this level wasn't designed for the crowd, it was designed for assignment. At this stage of life, God stops advertising His work in you and starts trusting you with weight. Shallow. That's why fewer people check on you. That's why conversation. That's why you often feel understood. It's not loneliness. It's separation. You prayed. You obeyed. You stayed faithful when quitting would have been easier. So why did life feel heavier instead of lighter? God said, "Because I don't test beginners with advanced battles." This level is not about survival anymore. It's about stewardship. Earlier seasons were about whether you would trust God. This season is about whether God can trust you. That's why challenges now are deeper, not louder. That's why the battles are internal, not external. That's why the pressure feels silent but intense. You are being shaped for influence that does not announce itself. Authority that doesn't demand attention. Wisdom that doesn't need to prove anything. This is the level where God stops rescuing you publicly and starts strengthening you privately. There was a time when being misunderstood hurt deeply. You wanted to explain your intentions. You wanted people to see your heart. But now, you're tired of explaining. Not because you became bitter, but because you became secure. God said, "When I elevate someone, I remove their need to defend themselves." At this level, silence is no longer weakness. It is wisdom. You've learned that not everyone deserves access to your story. Not everyone is qualified to interpret your journey. Not everyone will understand the cost of your obedience. And that's okay. Because divine levels don't require public approval. They require inner alignment. Others seem to be moving faster. They have more visibility, more excitement, more recognition. And yet, you're still standing. God said, "Speed impresses people. Depth sustains destiny." You are no longer rushing because rushing belongs to insecurity. You move deliberately now. Prayerfully. Thoughtfully. This level is not about arriving quickly, it's about arriving whole. God slowed you down not to delay you, but to protect what He placed inside you. Some blessings break people because they receive them too early. Some doors destroy people because they walk through them unprepared. You were preserved, not postponed. One day, you looked around and realized there were fewer people walking with you. No big fight. No dramatic exit. Just distance. God said, "I didn't remove them to punish you. I removed them to clarify you." This level requires emotional maturity, spiritual discernment, quiet strength. People who thrive on drama can't survive here. People who need constant reassurance can't function here. People who don't respect silence feel uncomfortable here. So God filtered your environment without noise. Not everyone is meant to walk into deeper levels with you. Some were only meant to introduce you to the journey. Some days you feel tired, not physically, but internally. You feel responsible, aware, alert. God said, What you feel is not heaviness. It is responsibility. At this level, you carry insight others don't have. You see consequences before they happen. You feel things before they manifest. That's not anxiety. That's discernment. You are no longer reacting to life, you are reading it. This is the cost of divine awareness. The blessing of spiritual clarity. Earlier, you asked God a lot of questions. Why this? Why now? Why me? Now, you ask fewer questions. Not because you know all the answers, but because you know God's character. God said, faith at this level does not need explanation. You learn that understanding is not a requirement for obedience. That peace doesn't always come from clarity. That trust sometimes means walking without confirmation. This is mature faith. Quiet faith. Unshakable faith. You may feel invisible right now, but invisibility is often training. God said, I hide what I'm developing so it doesn't get contaminated. This level is not about you anymore. It's about what will flow through you. Who will be strengthened by your wisdom? Who will survive because of your prayers? You are becoming a refuge. A voice of stability. A pillar, not a performer. And this preparation is sacred. There was a time when encouragement kept you going. A word from someone. A compliment. Recognition. But slowly, those things disappeared. God said, I had to train you to stand even when no one notices. At this level, applause would distract you. Validation would weaken you. Praise would shift your focus. So God allowed seasons where you showed up and no one clapped. You gave your best and no one mentioned it. You stayed faithful and no one thanked you. Not because it didn't matter, but because you were being trained to draw strength from me alone. This level produces men who don't collapse when ignored, who don't quit when unseen, who don't change when unrecognized. You learn how to keep going without fuel from people. That is rare strength. Earlier in life, you wanted results to speak for you. You wanted outcomes to silence doubt. You wanted success to answer criticism. Now you're calm. God said, proving is for those who are unsure of who they are. You reached a place where your identity no longer depends on outcomes. Win or lose, you know who you are. Rise or wait, you know where you belong. That's why criticism doesn't shake you like it used to. That's why praise doesn't intoxicate you anymore. That's why comparison feels pointless now. This level is marked by inner stability. You don't react, you respond. You don't compete, you remain consistent. You don't chase, you stay aligned. There was a season when prayers were desperate. Tears were frequent. Questions were loud. But something shifted. God said, I moved you from desperation to partnership. Now your prayers are quieter, more intentional, more surrendered. You don't demand answers, you ask for alignment. You don't beg for change, you prepare for responsibility. This level teaches you that God is not just someone you cry out to, He is someone you walk with daily. Side by side. Step by step. Without panic. This is not cold faith. This is confident faith. Some pain didn't leave you bitter, it made you wise. You lost things you thought you couldn't survive without. People. Dreams. Seasons. And yet, you're still here. God said, that pain removed what could not go with you. At this level, you don't attach easily. You don't cling desperately. You don't fear loss the same way. Not because you stopped caring, but because you learned what truly matters. You value peace over noise, truth over comfort, depth over appearance. Pain refined you. It didn't ruin you. God speaks loudly to beginners. But to the mature, He often whispers or stays silent. God said, silence does not mean absence. It means trust. At this level, silence is not confusing anymore. You don't panic when God doesn't immediately respond. You don't assume something is wrong. You've learned how to listen beyond words, to discern beyond science, to move without constant confirmation. God trusts you to stay steady in the quiet. That's a sign of maturity few reach. Life tried to harden you. Disappointments tried to close you. Betrayals tried to change you. But they didn't. God said, "Strength without compassion is not my goal." You learn how to be firm without being cruel, clear without being arrogant, strong without being cold. That balance was costly. You chose healing instead of bitterness, wisdom instead of revenge, grace instead of withdrawal. That choice unlocked this divine level. People may not see what you carry. They may not recognize the depth of your journey. They may underestimate you. But heaven doesn't. God said, "What I planted in you will outlive applause." Your words will land differently now. Your presence will calm rooms. Your counsel will carry weight. You won't need to announce who you are. What's inside you will speak naturally. This level doesn't seek attention, it commands respect without asking. Waiting used to frustrate you. You felt delayed, overlooked, forgotten. But now, waiting feels different. God said, "I taught you how to wait without weakening." At this level, waiting is not empty time. It's active preparation. It's quiet alignment. You're no longer restless when things move slowly. You don't rush decisions just to feel progress. You've learned that haste creates regret. This patience didn't come naturally. It was forged through disappointment, refined through unanswered prayers. And now waiting has become a strength, not a struggle. You sense things before they happen. You feel shifts in people. You know when something is off without proof. God said, "Experience trained your discernment." At this level, God doesn't always warn you with words. He alerts you with unease, with hesitation, with inner resistance. You've learned to trust that. You don't ignore red flags anymore. You don't override peace for excitement. You don't compromise wisdom for urgency. This discernment protects what God entrusted to you. There was a time you searched for purpose. Books, messages, advice. Now, you live it naturally. God said, "Purpose at this level flows through obedience, not ambition." You no longer ask, "What am I supposed to do?" You ask, "How can I be faithful where I am?" And in that faithfulness, purpose reveals itself quietly. This level is not about titles, not about platforms, not about recognition. It's about impact often unseen. There's a calm in you now. Not arrogance, not pride, confidence. God said, "You've seen me carry you through enough to trust me fully." You survived moments that could have ended you. You stood when you should have collapsed. You continued when giving up made sense. That history with God changed you. You don't fear the future the same way. You don't panic under pressure. You don't crumble at uncertainty. You've been here before and God was faithful. There was a time you shared every blessing, every breakthrough, every miracle. Now, you're quieter. God said, "Some blessings are meant to be protected, not announced." At this level, privacy is wisdom. Silence is stewardship. Restraint is maturity. You've learned that not everyone celebrates your growth. Not everyone understands your journey. Not everyone should have access to your victories. So you guard what God gives you. People open up to you now. They trust you instinctively. They seek your presence. God said, "I shaped you into refuge." Your pain made you compassionate. Your patience made you understanding. Your endurance made you reliable. You don't preach at people. You don't rush to fix them. You listen. And that listening heals more than words. This is quiet leadership. There were dreams you had to release. Paths you expected to walk. Outcomes you planned. God said, "Surrender is the doorway to elevation." At this level, you stopped arguing with reality. You accepted what was. You trusted what could still be. Not resignation, but peaceful acceptance. You learned that God's plan doesn't always look like your expectation, but it always carries purpose. Loneliness used to scare you. Silence felt heavy. Now, solitude feels sacred. God said, "I met you where distractions couldn't reach." At this level, being alone is not abandonment. It's restoration. You think clearly. You hear deeply. You rest fully. You've learned how to sit with yourself and with God without discomfort. Earlier, success meant milestones, goals, results. Now, success feels different. God said, "Peace is the new measure." You value rest, alignment, integrity. You're no longer impressed by busyness. You're no longer chasing what looks good. You're no longer sacrificing peace for progress. This level teaches you what truly lasts. Your joy is quieter now. Not loud laughter. Not excitement that needs an audience. God said, "This joy survived sorrow." You don't need perfect circumstances to feel settled. You don't wait for everything to align before smiling. Your joy comes from stability, not stimulation. It's the kind of joy that understands loss and still chooses gratitude. This level teaches joy that cannot be stolen. Failure once felt final, embarrassing, devastating. Now, it feels instructive. God said, "Failure refined you, not defined you." You learn that falling doesn't erase calling. That mistakes don't cancel purpose. That God redeems detours. At this level, fear loses its power because experience gave you perspective. You know you can recover. You know God restores. You know the story doesn't end there. Misunderstanding once frustrated you. You wanted clarity. Agreement. God said, "Clarity comes from alignment, not explanation." At this level, you accept that some people will never understand your silence, your choices, your pace, and you're okay with that. You stop translating your soul for people who refuse to listen deeply. That's freedom. Life humbled you, not opinions. Loss did. Waiting did. Endurance did. God said, "True humility comes from surviving, not performing." You no longer see yourself as above anyone. You've been low enough to understand pain, weak enough to value grace. This humility didn't shrink you. It grounded you. And grounded people don't fall easily. God said, "You didn't arrive here by accident." Every quiet step, every unseen sacrifice, every night you chose faith over fear brought you to this place. This divine level was unlocked when you stopped asking for recognition and started walking in obedience. What the world never noticed, heaven recorded. What others dismissed, God preserved. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not small. You are positioned carefully, intentionally, purposefully. From here, your life will speak without noise. Your wisdom will guide without force. Your presence will shift things without effort. This level doesn't need announcement. It only needs faithfulness. Walk steady. Stay humble. Trust deeply. What God has placed in you will now work through you quietly, powerfully, and right on time.